What's going on, guys? Kyle Welcher here, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro, standing right beside my 2020 rig. This is the boat that I took from Florida to New York and all the way down to Texas. So we're gonna let y'all, show y'all exactly how I had it set up and everything that's inside it. This is it for 2020. I'll let y'all check out my rig.
All right, Alabama, one of your bright young stars, our day one leader, Kyle Welcher.
Biggin', dude, biggin'. Yes! Woo! How about day 4? I flipped in there and it went donk. This right here, I spend just hours and hours and hours on this thing every single day. 109-pound motor guide tour trolling motor. I've, took this sucker all over the country, ran through all the kind of grass and rocks and stumps and everything. These things get beat every single year. I've got I'm probably the only person on the Elites with one graph up front. I have one 10-inch graph. You can see right there, that's where I have my power pole, stomp buttons, whatever the things are called, the little stomp, whatever you do. You just stomp them constantly whenever you want to stop the boat. That's as close as we've gotten. Boats have been around for like 70, 80 years. Bass boats have been around for a long, long time. That's as close as we've got to finding brakes for them. So that's where my brakes are sitting right there. Let's move on around towards the back. This is a Ranger 520L. Very wide boat. It still goes pretty fast. Almost all this year I've been running 71, 72 miles an hour, and that's mainly because right here, Mercury Pro XS 250. You can see right beside it I've got two of the 8-foot power pole blades. This Mercury Pro XS 250 with a Fury 23 pitch prop turns this boat about 6,100 RPMs, and that correlates into going about 71 to 73 miles an hour depending on where we are in the country. The fastest I've gotten is 73.5, and we've been in some tournaments where the fastest I can go is right at 70. So that is the powerhouse on the back of this thing. Love this boat all year. Caught a lot of fish in it. Been all over the country. It's been a fun one for sure. So that's pretty much how we have it on the outside. That's all this stuff is pretty standard. Let's hop inside. Let y'all look in some of the compartments. This is pretty much my office, and we take it all over. So let's hop up in there. All right, so right here in this compartment right behind my seat, I keep all kinds of tools and stuff in it. It looks rough right now. I got a bunch of tool sets right here. I got coil tags, I got extra rope. I actually even put a piece of wood in here because we just came back from Lake Fork and I was extremely scared about bending my prop on a stump. So I made sure that I had me a piece of wood in case I had to change a prop. Got a throw cushion in there, got some G-juice, some sunscreen, all my culling stuff, all kinds of little stuff. I have extra nuts for batteries. I've got zip ties. I've got extra nuts for trolling motors up here. I've got an extra trolling motor prop. I've got all kinds of little stuff. Anything that I think I might encounter during the day, I've got all the little stuff that'll fit it in here, and I've got all the tools and everything to get me through any kind of problems we're gonna have throughout the year. All right, so Lake Fork is a catchway release lake, and I've actually still got water in there from I don't even know what lake that's from. Probably Lake Fork, I'm not sure. But anyways, haven't had any fishing here in a long time, but the goal every day is to put this sucker on 5. 5 is a very important number whenever you're fishing on the Bassmaster Elite Series. You have to weigh a limit every single qualifying day, so that's the live wells, what they look like, just pretty standard. I like the boats with the white live wells because in Bassmaster there's a 2-pound penalty for having 6 fish. Some boat brands have dark live wells, some boat brands have really bright white live wells. I like white live wells. I can look in here and if I've got 6 fish, I can see them all. If I've got 2 fish, I can see them all. That seems to be more often that I have 2, but I like the bright white big live wells. All right, this right here is where I keep the goods. My boat is loaded down. You can see right there, not a lot in there. I've got one scale in there that doesn't even work. I just pretty much leave that open. I've fished co-angler tournaments for a lot of years, and still that translates, and I keep that pretty open. My boat's not very full. I have probably less stuff in my boat than 90% of the Elites. Another thing that my judges just said on Lake Fork, both days, they couldn't believe that I had an entire open space back here for them to put their, their life jackets, their extra clothes, all their snacks and stuff. So if you're ever marshal with me, you just know most likely you'll have a wide open spot that you can put stuff in. So Bassmaster Marshal program right there. All right, moving up here to the front. This is the most boring compartments on the front is these two right here. This one right here is probably a mess right now. It's probably a disaster. It's a catch-all for hoodies, rain suits, life jackets. I've got my Striker rain gear in here. I've actually got 2 full sets. I've got my life jacket that everybody hates on, man. On my YouTube videos, people are constantly hating on this dang life jacket. They're like, man, it's time to get a new one. You know how many fish I've caught wearing this sucker or with this sucker laying out there on the seat? I like it. I'm partial to it. Until it flies completely into 3 or 4 pieces and flies out of the boat, I'm gonna wear this thing. But yeah, this right here is pretty much a catch-all. I've got all kinds of stuff. I've got headlamps, I got extra hats, I've got trolling motor props down there in the bottom. It's kind of just a catch-all for the clothes and the stuff that I want to keep dry or help keep me dry. So let's stuff all this stuff back in there. That's the most full compartment, and it's probably the lightest. Here's another one that should be relatively empty. Well, I've got one striker jacket up in there, another hoodie up in there, and then I've got 2 life jackets and a paddle and my nav light right here. So you can see I'm not joking whenever I say my boat's relatively empty. I have almost nothing in here. That's why I have a Ranger that runs 72 or 73 miles an hour. So paddle, light, couple life jackets, and Top Fishing Deals hoodie, and then another striker rain gear. So got a lot of stuff, you know, duplicate stuff, because you know, if you're in the rain, a lot of times throughout the day, I'll change rain suits completely because I don't want you to be sitting in soaked stuff. So I always keep 2 rain suits and a bunch of hoodies because you never know how it's going to be. All right, this is the best one. There's no better feeling in bass fishing than getting a brand new reel or a brand new rod. There's just something about it when it's so new. The brand new reel is so geared up, you know. So we're just gonna open this up, let y'all see my rod compartment. So if y'all don't know, I built all of my own custom rods. Every single rod that's in here, I glued all the cork on, reel seat, put all the guides on, and the 2 or 3 coats of epoxy that I put on here. I built all my rods using point blank rod blanks and Fuji rod components. I absolutely love these things. I'm in love with them. I've got all my reels on here too, and I've got them rigged up from everything from fishing 20 feet deep all the way to fishing some buzz baits and some square bills and frogs and stuff. So this is the favorite box. Every time I'm taking rods out, you always get that little funny feeling because you love your equipment so much. So love this box, very fun one. And I always tell people, if you ever see me out there, tell me you want to pick up one of these rods and feel it. These rods are phenomenal. And I always tell people, just feel this thing, man. Just put this thing in your hand and just see how good it feels, because I'm very proud of them because I did build them myself. So I think I've got 23 or 25 in there right now, and I still have the actual rod tubes and the butt support that comes in the boat. So if I took both of those out, I could probably get more like 40 or 50 in there, but I have it set up with the tube still in there and the butt holder. So, you know, I've got like 23 or 25 in there right now. So this is where I keep all the stuff that the fish actually like to bite sometimes. So right now, it's not super organized, but this is the real world. This is how it actually looks out here. So one thing, I never ever go out on the water without super glue right there. I have to have it if I'm using, you know, anything that I'm putting a trailer on, chatterbait, jig, buzz bait. If I'm throwing that horny toad on a buzz bait, I always super glue it, hold it down. You know, I've got all the little stuff right here. So right now I've got bags of worms thrown in here too. But down here in the bottom, I keep garlic pins. I keep actually a lighter to burn the end of braid. I always burn the end of braid so that it doesn't fray out, because whenever you cut your tag end of braid, after a couple hours of fishing, the actual strands that are woven together, they will come unraveled and it'll fray and actually weaken your knot. So I always like the braid. Got a little bit of garlic dye that my lovely wife, Miss Hunter, uses that. I almost never use the garlic dye, but she sure likes to have it. Got a little wacky rig tool in there. So what I have never found a good way to organize these swim baits like this. This is something I've struggled with for years and I still don't know. So I use these upriver bags and I actually just kind of stuff as many of them down in there as I possibly can. I obviously organize them by, you know, size and stuff like that. So I've got 2 or 3 bags with all kinds of different sizes, and they just fit kind of on the side of this tackle tray that I already use. So haven't figured out a better way to do that, but I'm still looking and trying to find the best way to organize it. I just stuff this down the side. I do the same thing with all my Gamakatsu treble hooks and owner treble hooks that I use all the time. You know, stuff them down in these little upriver tackle bags, and I keep all my treble hooks in there. I keep my spare leader line in there in the same kind of tubes. That's just kind of how I organize everything. And all this stuff should not be here ideally, but right now it just happens to be strode out from everything that I was using on Lake Fork. And then you can see right here, that's how I just leave. That's all the box I usually leave in the boat. Sometimes I'll put a couple more in there, but I've got them all labeled with High Waters Creations tackle tags, so you can see exactly what I'm picking up. I never pick up the wrong box, so I'm never looking to see what I've got. I know what's in every single box at all times. And I do the exact same thing with these. These are actually shoe boxes from the local Dollar General where I grew up, you know. So if you open this up, a standard pack of worms just fits in here perfectly, you know. And I've just got space in here. I can fill it up with even more stuff, but this is just my crawls box. Just a standard pack of worms just fits in here, and I can fit so many of them, keep them very organized on shape, size, color, and brand. And I don't have that many to begin with. I'll keep 4 or 5 bags of, you know, the same color, because if you're really catching them for a day, you know, I could go through 30 or 40, you know, jig trailers. So I try to keep as enough to get me through a couple days and still have it organized where I can find them very quickly. And I do the same thing for, I got my stickworms box, I got swim baits and frogs, that means horny toads. Down there I've got creature baits, that's gonna be a lot of brush hogs, a lot of missile D-bombs, stuff like that. So that's how I organize all my stuff. And same way with, you know, all my stuff that I organize right here. I try to keep it organized the best I can by color. As you can see, I got my reds, I've got my chartreuses, I've got some shad colors, and then I've got my bigger ones on this side. It's just a standard square bill box. It needs a little bit of replenishing going on because it is kind of worn down throughout the year. So that's just kind of how I organize everything except for my topwater box. This sucker is kind of a nightmare. It doesn't look very good at all. So this is probably my worst box. I've got topwaters on here. I've got everything from prop baits to poppers, sammies, big whopper ploppers. I've got everything in here. This is an absolute disaster. It's a nightmare box that I don't open that often really. If I'm gonna throw topwater, it's usually a buzz bait and a frog. So that's a look inside my boat. Like I said, I keep everything relatively simple. I don't keep a ton of stuff in here. Most of the stuff is duplicates. I'll keep, you know, 10 of the same exact crankbaits in here. I'll keep, you know, 4 packs of the same exact bait in here. That's what I do, and I got even more of the same exact stuff in the truck. So that's my 2020 rig. Hope y'all enjoyed that video. If you want this to be a series and get more elite guys on there, leave a like, leave a comment, you know, and share this to your friends, because the more this does, the more the other elite guys are gonna want to take part in this series. So hope y'all enjoyed this. So it is fall though and the fish are biting, so it's time for y'all to get out of my rig.